we're getting there. I think Instagram's up.
Just need to get face chat up.
YouTube is struggling again.
Man.
Oh, now it says you're live. Punch in the face.
You gonna punch in the face?
I just did. It said I was live. Now it's confused. All right, I think we're good on YouTube.
All right.
And let's see. Facebook says we are live as well.
Yeah, we postponed from yesterday. I'm sorry. I needed to go to Napa Valley with my wife.
The sacrifices we make.
To invest in our marriage and relationship. So thank you for understanding. But we're here, and things are good with my wife, so that's great. Now we can talk about cars.
We're not going to talk about why the 12 valve is superior stuff.
Yeah, no, 12 valves are superior for holding ships in place. That's wow, that's going to piss somebody off. Sorry, Stav. So as always, a Q&A session. We're happy to discuss all things automotive, the most controversial automotive topics. Bring it on. We like to debunk myths and call out bullshit when we see it. And actually remind me to follow up on the cryo conversation from last week. I have some.
Yep.
We're usually answering these things on the spot.
Yeah,
we don't have the chance to research it.
Here.
Right. So occasionally I will follow up with additional information. There's been at least one time where I've apologized for saying something that was incorrect. But typically I think we have an amazing track record, and we've been around for a long time. We've both been in the industry for over 20 years, tuning cars and engineering products to a very high degree. So I think we have a good amount of information to draw from, and happy to weigh in on some of these conversations. And of course, anything 0 through 4 motorsport related. If you love us, you hate us, you want to know about us, we're here to answer. So let's see. We have some questions from last week. We can start with those as new questions roll in. I have used Unitronic on my past few vehicles. Why should I consider 034 Motorsport Dynamic Plus on my DAZA RS3? Well, I've known, the Unitronic guys for a long time, and I have a lot of respect for them. I know Mike Z personally. I've gotten to know John Staffy over the years, and there's been a little bit of issues sometimes, like between the marketing people, but generally I think behind the scenes we have a good mutual respect for each other. We are still a Unitronic dealer to this day.
Yep.
We sell Unitronic tunes in our service department when that's what customers want, or if they have an application that we don't cover, we happily recommend Unitronic for that. I think since the custom code days, Unitronic has done a great job stepping up and filling the need for DAZA.
Yep.
So we're not here to say that Unitronic is bad in any way and that you need to change or upgrade. However, we will say that we are an excellent option along with Unitronic. And, I honestly, technically speaking, we don't have anything to add as far as like, we haven't compared a Unitronic tune to ours and yada, yada. But with that said, we have a good respect for what they do. We know technically they do good work. We are a hardware and tuning company. We compete with Unitronic and APR and companies like that. And so we're of course putting our own product out there, and we can certainly speak to our product that it is a highly optimized tune for the DAZA from stage 1 all the way through our stage 2 options with our E85 tunes. We don't believe that any more power can be produced from those applications. The turbo is maxed out. The fuel is maxed out. Then it comes down to drivability and additional optimizations, and we are incredibly confident that our file is as good as anything out there, and we'd like to think it's better.
Yeah, and it's one of those questions that's really impossible for us to I mean, we're here to tell you how we do it, how we develop our files, how we generate our calibration, what testing we do. I have no idea what length and what considerations, what efforts, and what validation is done from any other supplier than what how we do it in house. So
Yeah.
we're here to talk our merits. We don't generally poo-poo others.
I mean, I definitely will poo-poo some others,
Unless it's an
if I think
egregious
it's
reason, yes.
I think if I think it's justified and I've done it,
Yes.
I'm not afraid to.
Nope.
And I'll certainly take on the burden challenge of doing it. There's been times where I've spoken out on this in this format about, frankly, some egregiously bad tunes that are out there, just honestly as a public safety announcement. But I don't have anything to say about Unitronic. I've actually spoken to Mike Z in detail at times about our tuning philosophies, and I would say they're very much in line and matched with that. So we have chosen to focus on DAZA stock turbo tunes all the way through stage 2, maxing out the stock turbo. And again, we've spent over 2 years perfecting those tunes on in-house cars, and they've been tested extensively on customer cars. So, for that, now we are starting to delve. We are going to be doing a TTE turbo tune soon. We're not really necessarily going to go full IROS big turbo, tuning world there. That's not really our focus. But I think for anyone who's looking for a stage 1, stage 2 upgrade path, our tuning is an excellent option. It could be considered the best option. But if you already have Unitronic, I wouldn't say dump that or anything like that. I think they offer an excellent product as well. And unlike some of the other tuners out there, I have nothing bad to say about them. And there's a strong mutual respect. All right. Someone's asking, can you guys release a 0 through 4 motor safety sticker or shirt? So I don't know if you guys saw this week, our April Fool's rag was changing the name of the company. We did initially get inspired by Volkswagen changing the name to Volkswagen. But 0 through 4 motorsport and safety is something that it's a little shtick that we've joked about, and so we thought it would be fun to do that. I think it went well. We got good engagement. A lot of people got a kick out of it. We changed the name of the website. We made a new logo. We changed the website URL. We changed our name on Instagram to 0 through 4 Motor Safety. But I think I could see doing a sticker. I don't know if I want to do a shirt. I mean, it was a joke. It was a joke, but I think it's a funny shtick that that tuning is about safety, and that's what you can tell the significant other in your life who's concerned about the money you're spending, and everybody likes to spend money on safety. So it's kind of a fun joke to make, and it was interesting. There was a couple gentlemen on Instagram who were incredulous at the idea that any man would let a woman determine how he spends his money, and
I don't think it's the way it goes, guys.
And
we have a lot of female customers as well.
Yeah, and I think there's plenty of men that don't want their wives to spend money on things that they spend money on. So it's not necessarily men being emasculated by women, but when you're part of a household income, how money gets spent is discussed. And so if you can kind of joke about it being, for safety and accelerating away from the danger, it's just a way to have fun with it. So
someone's asking for the motors 034 motor safety super duper charger shirt.
Yeah, we really should do a super duper charger shirt because I think that's worth it.
With like nothing car related on it.
Yeah. Will you be releasing B9 SQ5 products like a strut brace, sway bars, or intake? Yes, and yes.
Mm-hmm. And tuning and
tuning.
Yep. Wheels.
Yeah. Actually, we have released several products for the SQ5, and more will be coming. So, sway bar is coming, strut tie bar is coming, intake's coming. I think the strut tie bar will be the next newest product released. And sway bars, we're testing that, right?
I believe it's next car. Yeah. So there you go, Nick. There's your update.
So you guys are lucky that our marketing manager owns a B9 SQ5. So
I'm pretty sure he seeded the question.
It's probably him, But we our entire universe at times looks like B9 SQ5 because that's the universe Nick paints for us. So you guys are well represented. What's the washer used for on street density strut mounts? So our Mark 5, Mark 6, and I believe the Mark 7 strut mounts, we include a hardened steel washer. This is a hardened steel that's harder than the steel that's used in our mount, and also even harder than the OEM steel. And what we've seen with our mounts and OEM mounts during hard or high load aggressive use is the nut that tightens the strut begins to kind of dig and wear into the mounting surface of the strut mount. Now what happens is as that material is moved away from underneath the nut, you lose torque on that nut and you get some slop. And so what happens is you start getting a rattling there. The nut is a nylock nut, so it doesn't necessarily loosen, but you develop play there. So by inserting the hardened steel washer, you torque that down, and the steel of the washer and the nut are basically the same hardness, and so you eliminate that wear. You always want to wear on that washer. Frankly, I would do it on OEM strut mounts as well. It's a good idea, and that's what it's for. Can we negotiate on tuning prices? APR is a little cheaper. Well, we don't typically haggle and negotiate on prices. The reason for that is, all the other people who've bought it didn't do that. And it's not really fair to them for us to give you a discount if other people happily paid the price. So we do have sales occasionally. Some of our dealers will discount and not, and there's nothing we can really do about that. But I would say if you want to compare apples to apples, make sure that the tune you're comparing to is the same quality or level of development or features that what you would get from us. For example, I don't know what tune we're talking about, but frankly, just about any of the tunes, the APR tunes are older files that have not been updated in a long time. And so, for example, our BA tune is a state-of-the-art tune that's the best on the market. So if the APR one's a little bit cheaper, well, if you get that one, you're not getting what you're getting from us. So we're still investing in these products. We're still putting money into them, and we're charging the lowest price we can to continue to offer this level of products and services. No one's getting rich over here. We're not like, making money hand over fist, but we are making livings, and people are having kids and buying homes and sending their kids to college and building a retirement, and that's what our employees do with the money that's made. But we're putting a lot of features and quality into these tunes, and so we're in the cases where we're charging a little more, we've looked and we've seen what the other prices are, and it's not comparable. So we continue to charge a higher price because it's a better product. All right. Engineering corrected me. The washer goes underneath the strut mounts, not on top. I apologize about that. There's instructions. When you buy
it's the same reason though.
Same concept.
The steel on the strut shaft is harder than the steel.
It's
a factory issue as well.
It's a really hard steel, but we've observed it on the factory strut mounts. And of course, once you stiffen up the mounts and stiffen up your suspension and drive the car harder, the issue is aggravated. But yes, the washer goes underneath. But
same cause and effect.
That's all in the instructions.
Yeah.
But it's good for engineering to be pedantic about things like that.
That's the whole point. Yeah.
Yes. What's the deal with the MQB front wheel drive rear sway bar defect? When will it be rectified? Okay, so we had a production run of sway bars for the front wheel drive MQB, where the locating washer that locates and centers the sway bar on the mounting bushings, these washers were welded on 90 degrees off. This has never been a problem before, and so there was no QC check for that because there's
Well, it's
There's fixturing
it's documented in the build docs, but yeah,
yeah, but we have never QC'd it once it
Here,
shows up.
yeah,
We don't make these sway bars here. They're made in the U.S. At a really great company, but their fabricator messed up. He read the drawing wrong. He welded the washers on 9 degrees off, and the entire production run was done like that. We shipped, I don't know, about 50 of these sway bars
Yeah.
before it was caught. We have initiated a recall. So if you are affected by this, you have already gotten an email from us. If you didn't get an email, but you have bought one of these sway bars, and you check your spam folder or something. But
I think there was a pretty big break from the last run too. So anybody that's gotten a bar semi recently,
the issue is when you install this sway bar, the locating or centering washer will lightly hit the subframe. It'll touch it. You can still install it, but there will be some rubbing on the subframe. Obviously, that's not acceptable. So we are going to be shipping out new replacement sway bars, hopefully early next week. The new bars, the replacement bars, are being produced right now. That will replace the ones that were shipped incorrectly. And so if you have any questions or concerns about this, email contact@034motorsport.com. But we do have a recall. If you're a dealer and you've purchased any of these sway bars that were affected, you'll also be notified. We know precisely which bars were affected by this and when they were shipped and sold. So we've already contacted you if there was a concern. But we're really sorry about this. This does happen from time to time. Audi does recalls, Volkswagen, Honda. I have a Honda minivan. We get recall notices all the time. It's not a safety issue, but it is an inconvenience. And if you've installed this bar, you'll have to uninstall it. And if there's anything you need or you have any concerns, contact customer service, and we'll be sure you're taken care of. Okay. I really want to try your pendulum mount on my Mark 7 Sport Wagon Golf R swap. Will it help with tranny slop? I don't know what tranny slop is, but it would definitely help with drivetrain slop, which would include any power that runs through your transmission. It can also help with wheel hop, which is kind of a cycling or bouncing of the drivetrain as power is applied and as traction cycles on the tires. And it's generally going to offer a more crisp pedal feel as you apply power and throttle, and less bouncing of the engine and things like that. So I recommend doing the pendulum mounts, and at minimum our inserts for the Dogbone.
Yeah, so that's going to be the inserts are the first line of attack for the driveline movement, and then the secondary would be the pendulum mount. So it's basically, you can go by size of bushing basically that you're interacting with. The inserts, the bushing's almost 3 inches around with like 1.5 inches of rubber all around it. So there's a lot of potential movement there that can be limited with the inserts.
Yeah, and then furthermore, do our motor mounts. I believe they fit the Sport Wagon. You can check, but our motor mounts with the drivetrain, the pendulum and the inserts is a really nice combination, and that's frankly how the car should, the sport version of the car should have come. What clutch would you recommend for the billet longitudinal VR6 Flywheel, non-Tilton version? I ordered the wrong one.
It's I gotta check it. I think it should be listed on the site. That's the it's an older Coupe Quattro, Audi Coupe Quattro kit. It's like a 1990 or 91 Audi Coupe Quattro. That's what those are based around, because they were, when we developed that kit, one of the best dollar for holding power clutch you could get.
Yeah, it depends on how much power you're making, how much torque. We recommend South Bend clutches. We've sold Spec, we've sold Clutch Masters, we've sold everything. We used to sell the Sachs 707 pressure plate, which is also a good option, but it's basically South Bend, we believe, makes the best aftermarket clutches. They have the best customer service. They have the best after sales warranty support. And they offer the biggest range of options. And I think their compounds and the combinations they use also offer the best drivability. So you can link off of our flywheel to whatever clutches we recommend. We recommend clutches on our website. You can go to there. We list all the power and torque figures, and you can choose the clutch that holds the power that you're making. Okay. And I don't know if you ordered the wrong flywheel. I'm not sure.
It sounds like he just needs to
Reach out to us.
fix his clutch kit, whatever he ordered.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but if you order the wrong one, we can get you the right flywheel, whatever. Shoot us an email. When will your B8 SQ5 intake release? We don't have a release date yet, but probably in like 2 months or so. The design is done, the engineering's done, and I believe we're currently getting all the parts manufactured and working on getting them in stock. So, but it won't be too far off. Can you buy density bushings instead of the whole arm? No, we don't, unfortunately, because we found that the arms vary enough in diameter, the inside diameter, that the bushings don't always fit. And then there's another issue is when you press these bushings out, it does remove material from the arm too. So we haven't found a reliable way to do that. It's pretty much why you don't see the factory doing that either. These are, if they're steel items and they're precisely machined to tolerance.
The factory, I mean, from what we've seen, it appears there's no real spec on that.
There isn't.
Precise OD of or ID of the press fit for the arm. So it's kind of up to the various manufacturers that have kind of determined what works for the bushings that they've created. So those tolerances are just they're too loose across the models for us to do just an insert. Just a rubber piece.
The other issue is most people do not want to or not set up to press bushings in and out of arms.
Yeah, and those particular ones need to be clocked right. They need to be installed. There's some orientation considerations that need to be made that can be tricky.
Yeah. If you're doing it yourself, you could certainly save money, but taking your bushings to a mechanic and having them press them in and out, it's actually cheaper just to replace the whole arm. So that's why we do that. We're here to serve the, not the least common denominator, but the highest common denominator.
Yep, and it gets you, new outer joints, of course.
The ball joints wear too, and that's a big issue. So, will you be testing Jay's direct port injection on the B8S4?
So to quickly clarify that, it's not direct port. It is a port injection. So it's direct is generally referred to as direct into the.
Yeah, it's not direct injection, but it's port injection.
Port injection, traditional port injection. Yes. We plan to once we have one in our hands.
Yeah, we're talking to him about it, and we support the idea.
Yep.
So, please explain the differences between Catch Can PCV kits. Some use the OEM PCV valve, and others have upgraded plates. Which one is better? Okay, so this is a good question. So let's compartmentalize here. So our Catch Can kits are designed to allow any oil or oil vapor that comes out of the motor, so out of the crankcase breather system. Our Catch Can kits allow that to be caught and managed and not allowed to go back into your induction system or like typically pre-turbo. Normally, that oil and oil vapor would come right out of the crankcase and go right into the turbo inlet, or in some cases, right into the intake manifold. You don't want that oil in your induction system. You want your induction system to be free of oil and dry. So, like, for example, when you take off your intercooler hoses, you should put your hand in there and it should be squeaky dry. There should be no... in practice, you're going to get some oil film just because oil vapor does atomize and it deposits, but worse is liquid oil that comes out of the crankcase and goes right into your induction system. So that's the purpose of the Catch Can. Typically our Catch Can kits catch it, and we prefer to drain it back to the oil pan because there's nothing wrong with that oil. It's just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Now there's a separate issue with the PCV, which is typically on newer motors. It's a plate that bolts to the top of the valve cover. This pretty much started in the Mark V era, 2.0T, 4-cylinder. And for the sake of discussion, let's focus on 4-cylinder and 5-cylinder. But there's typically, the 5-cylinder stuff is built into the valve cover for some reason. So let's just focus on the four cylinder.
They're all
Four cylinder have these removable PCV plates. The Mark V one kind of sits on the front of the valve cover, and it's about this big, and it has like 3 ports on it. Later ones look like kind of like a version of Africa, and they're bigger, and the shape
different between Mark 6 and Mark 7. So,
yeah, but those can be problematic to the point where they become defective really easily. The factory issued various upgrades and updates,
dozens,
but our position was at the time, let's just replace it with a solid piece of aluminum that has all the right passages. It can never go bad. It can never fail. And then that way oil and air will be always going to the right places. On some of the later applications like the MQB, the PCV plate was not problematic, and so we didn't change it initially. However, we are about to release a stage 2 upgrade to our MQB Catch Can, which replaces the factory PCV with a motorsport style baffled breather plate that is superior to anything that we've seen on the market, and actually keeps all the oil out of the intake. And still lets the crankcase breathe. There's another popular option on the market that we've seen that basically seals off the crankcase, so air just simply can't leave the crankcase.
How you want it set up.
Yeah. So the good news is there'll be no oil coming out. The bad news is the amount of air coming out is not nearly enough either. So that's why we do it. I think once we upgrade the MQB, pretty much all of our kits will have replaceable PCV plates. And again, this is for the 4-cylinder.
Yeah.
Now for like we're about to release a DAZA Catch Can kit. The DAZA has all of that PCV functionality built into the valve cover, and we've been able to engineer this so that you don't have to worry about that, and that it doesn't appear to be real problematic from a reliability standpoint. So we will be releasing a kit that addresses all the technical needs of the breather system, keeps oil where it's supposed to, and still keeps all that PCV stuff built in the valve cover. Because frankly, there's no reason to like change the valve cover. It'd be like $1,000 valve cover.
It does a pretty good job
for no real benefit. So hopefully that answers your question. I think that's it. So when we can release the PCV and when it makes sense, we do. When we don't need to, then there's other things we can do to address the technical needs. What's the current 034 S4 3.0T turbo?
I think they meant they corrected. They meant super
Oh,
turbo.
B9?
B8. B8 S4.
What's the current 034 B8 quarter mile record? Sean, you know that?
10.2.
10.216 at 134.
134.9. That's the record, and hasn't been beat. So I think we'll probably see some challenges to that this year. We were already talking to some of our customers who are gearing up to go fast.
That was Matt Tremblay.
We need to get someone in the 9s. That's the next. That would be cool. So,
yep.
B8.5 3.0 TFSI, what is a normal acceptable difference in value for fuel rail pressure requested versus fuel rail pressure actual?
That's a pretty generic question. That's tough to answer. It's going to depend on what fuel you've got, the more important thing there is to look at the injection time, to know basically how much available injection window you've got for the amount of fuel you need to inject. So it's a tough one to answer. I mean, normally we like to see it within a few percent. Some of the tunes we will request a little more than most of the pumps can put out, which is fine. You can run the pump at 100%. Most pumps run at 100% in many applications. So you'll see it tail off a little bit from the requested.
Yeah.
But if there's any question, we'll take a look at the logs for you. But you'll start getting misfires and some other you can get torque reductions or other things if it gets too low.
Yes. So that's that. A real quick follow-up from last week. So last week someone asked about cryo treating of parts. And so
brake rotors, I think.
someone here who has racing experience at 034 Motorsport talked to me afterwards, and he said there was a company he used, and he strongly believed, based on his own data, that when he sent the rotors out to they sent them to the original, I don't know what company it is, but there's a company that the guy that originally developed cryogenically treating brake rotors, that they would send them out, and this person felt that strongly that the cryogenic treatment did greatly increase the life of the rotors. So, I would qualify that if parts are properly cryogenically treated and actually cryogenically treated, there's some precedent in science and aerospace for this as well, that it can have benefits. I think my concern is, finding reputable companies that can actually do it. This particular company is called Frozen Rotors. And again, I don't have any personal experience with this, but someone whose opinion I respect said that they thought it made a difference. So it might be worth, I don't know. I think on the street it would be really hard to tell, but on track.
Again, this is a track racing application where the rotors literally get installed and driven to the end of their life, essentially over a weekend or multiple weekends.
Yeah, you have a lot of very consistent high intensity use on track, and typically you go out on track for X number of sessions. The range of use and heat and load is very consistent compared to like what you would see on the street, which whether you're driving up a mountain or down a mountain or in traffic or out of traffic, there's no way you're going to be able to create good consistent results that way. So Frozen Rotors is supposedly a reputable company. I tend to think that it's not really something that's needed. It's not something I would personally mess with a lot, but if I was racing and I could get an extra 20% out of my rotors, that could add up to big bucks, depending on how much the cryogenic treatment costs. I don't know if it's a net positive or not. So anyways, cool. All right. I don't think that cryogenically freezing your speaker wires is a good idea. And I'm pretty sure there's other bullshit stuff out there too that people actually pay for.
They don't last longer?
I don't know. So this has been coming up lately. So we had our spring sale. It ended like 2 weeks ago. We did more business in that 2-week period than we did most months of the history in the company. We did an incredible amount of business. We basically did a really big month of sale in 2 weeks, and so we're playing catch up from that. We are behind in customer service. Shipping is reasonably caught up. It's definitely challenged our inventory position. So a lot of our popular products are out of stock and currently being replenished through our manufacturing department. But I just wanted to throw it out there. We are behind on emails. Our average response time is currently 3 days. That sucks, I know, but we are doing our best. And we have all of our customer service staff are working overtime right now to stay caught up. We're definitely trying to prioritize. Typically we answer first in, first out, but we are trying to prioritize time-sensitive needs and urgent needs. And if you just need to return something or exchange something, that's possibly going to wait a few extra days. But we're doing our best to treat everyone fairly and to respond to everyone as quickly as we can. So we appreciate your patience. Sometimes people don't get a response for 2 days and they say, they never replied to me. Like that's not true. You will get a reply. Also, we are closed weekends. So if you email us on Friday, you're not going to get a reply till Tuesday or Wednesday. That doesn't mean we didn't reply to you for 6 days. It means there was 3 business days that we didn't reply to you. We don't have like people in India doing customer service for us. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but
we don't do that.
We don't do that. And everyone here who responds to you is a Volkswagen Audi enthusiast who's passionate about cars, who cares about making you happy and satisfied. I like it that way. I'm probably not going to change that real soon, but you may not like trying to explain your esoteric Volkswagen Audi tuning problem to some call center person in another country, Pakistan or wherever.
Yeah,
So,
and to reiterate again, I was reading some of the stuff, so you may have already covered this. Like, we're not answering phones because we want to shrug anybody off. We were able to get to a lot more people and support you a lot better via email, which is why we've transitioned everything to that.
Yep.
And emailing us saying, "Hey, I really need to talk about my problem. Can you call me? Here's my number." No, that's not going to get you any help any faster. What you should have done is put your question there. So then by the time we get to that
give
email,
us the information.
we can answer your question right away. Like,
Now we will call someone if we need to. I mean,
well, yeah, we have
you know.
phones, but it's
we can do that. But like Nate said, we're doing that so that we can help more people faster
and more accurately. Like, there's so many
Yeah.
times where we've tried to help people over the phone, and it's some technical esoteric thing,
Yeah.
and it's something gets confused or they've forgotten a detail from the time they hang the phone to hours later when they go try and do whatever it is we told them to do on the car. And then it's just another day wasted or another, service interaction wasted. Whereas if you get an email, you go back, you reference it, you're able to pull up all the information exactly as we sent it. And
That's a big one too. Like people will say, "Oh, I said this on the phone," and it's like that doesn't make any sense. Like, are you sure? And it's so much nicer to have everything in writing and email, and we can go back
we're
and
accountable
review.
to it too. We need to make
Yeah.
sure we're giving you the information you need. So being able to go back and look at what both the customer and ourselves
Yeah.
said is huge.
And sometimes it comes up to me, and I'm forced to make a decision, and it's like, this person's been working here for 10 years. They've never said that to anyone. Like, why would they say that now? It makes no sense, And then it's just easier if you can just go back and it's in the ticketing system. You can read everything. So, but again, that's not why we're doing it. We're doing it so that we can help more people faster, and we're doing our best. If we had to call and talk to everyone on the phone, we'd be 10 times, worse off. So,
And one more thing, because it just came up here, reminded me. When you email someone or when you ask for support, please include your real name. Please include some way that we can look up an order or some information. Like Sparky Bang S5, we can't do much with that. It takes it takes twice as long to find the information and figure out what customer it is versus helping you.
Yeah, and plus it's a little awkward when our customer service reps have to refer to you by Ass Smasher 69. It'd be much better if they could just use your real name. So
Sam 69 says hello.
yeah, there you go. 69 is a very popular component of names online. I've noticed.
Yeah, they just came up here because this guy, person, Gray S4. Hey, I had an order that I placed and I need help.
Yeah,
This literally we get a pile of emails daily where it's some 2-character email address, no name, no signature.
to be fair, they didn't say silver S4 because that would be really confusing. There's so many silver S4s. There's not as many gray ones. So
yeah,
it narrows it down.
Just sometimes step back and read this email as if you had no idea who you were or what you were calling, inquiring about, and make sure that you've got enough information in there to answer the question you're putting forth.
But to reiterate, I care about this. Yep. I care about customer service. I think we currently have. I've currently employed 8 people to do customer service. Sometimes I do it. I was at lunch with my wife yesterday in Napa, responding to someone on Facebook who had a problem, and I was happy to do it. But we care about you. We care about your needs. We care about your concerns. We are being swamped and inundated. We are a small business. We're not just going to go out and hire 20 people in customer service. We don't know how long this business surge is going to last. I don't like hiring people and then firing them after 3 months when we don't need them. So we have doubled the size of our customer service team over the last year. We will continue growing it in a smart and logical way. But there are going to be some of these times where there's hitches, and I still strongly believe we still have better customer service than anyone in the industry, and we try harder and care more than anyone else in the industry. So we're here. If you can be patient, we appreciate it. If you have an urgent need, then feel free to escalate to anyone in the company any way that you can. And we always do our best. So, all right.
Gray S4 is responding. I don't think my email address was that good. I'm not saying it was. I'm just saying you asked a question on Instagram, and now
not to pick on Gray S4. It's just
now we have nothing we can help you with from your comment on Instagram because we don't know who to tie that back to.
Yeah. But if you've emailed us, know that your email will be responded to.
Yep.
And we don't forget emails. We don't discard emails. We don't ignore emails. I mean, if I knew that anyone in customer service was ignoring a customer's email, I would fire them on the spot. That's unacceptable. We don't do that here. I would grab that person gently and encourage them to leave the building, but I would stop paying them immediately, because that's not what customer service is about. We don't do that. I know it feels that way if you didn't get a reply for 2 days plus the weekend, but we do respond to every single email. If it was legal to drag them out of the building by their arm, I would.
Wrong country.
Can I? Oh, wrong state. I think you can do that in Texas.
Fair. Sure. Okay.
Florida, you can do more. Can I safely run your intake without a tune on a B8 S4? Yes, absolutely. And you can do it safely. Now, you won't necessarily see the gains without a tune. And the reason is that the factory ECU is targeting essentially a certain power or torque amount. And it decides how much power you get, not the flow of your intake. A key component of recalibrating the ECU is letting the ECU give you more power when there's more airflow to have it.
What you will see, while it may not represent, on one pole, there is actually a fairly significant restriction in the stock intake, for a V8 in this case. And so your supercharger is working harder to meet that targeted power level. So your air temps are going to be higher as well. So, over, a pole or a gear or 2 gears, you're going to see higher and higher air temps along with it versus having a tune. And it's not just from pulling in cooler or different or, differently managed air. It's also just the components are working more efficiently with that.
But the ECU still is going to close. It's going to close the throttle body a little bit to offset.
The amount of boost that it's going to hit is going to be the same.
Yeah.
As long as it's within a range you can regulate.
Is running 93 octane on E40 tune bad for the engine? Let's say you're on a road trip on E40 tune and fill up 93 and you have no laptop. What is the disadvantage potential issue that could happen?
There is a significant difference between a 93 file and an E40 file. We are never going to recommend you run.
Not officially.
No, that you run 93 on an E40 file.
In an emergency.
In an emergency, if you have to limp it somewhere, or get from A to B, you're stuck without any other option, you can, do not smash on it. Drive as gently as you can.
Very light load.
But it'll run. You're going to get probably fuel trim codes and some other stuff, but it'll run.
Yeah. But officially we don't recommend it. No. A big issue is, the stoichiometric ratio between E40 and gasoline is different. So under light load conditions, the ECU's in closed loop, and so it will manage the air fuel ratio, as best it can.
Yeah, and it's more that the timing is so different, and then you're also going to have some startup characteristics that are going to be grumpy.
But at light load, the timing, if there's detonation, it'll pull back, and the amount of energy. Whoa, that's me. The amount of energy in the combustion won't be as much.
Yeah, but don't get on it.
Yeah, but again, this isn't so you can save a few bucks. If you're going to go on a road trip and you're not sure how much access you're going to have to E85, definitely switch to a gasoline tune.
Yep.
And bring your laptop and a hotspot and your cable with you or something.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, I haven't gone on a road trip in a very long time with a Volkswagen Already not had a laptop with me. It's a tool.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had to use it in a very long time, but it comes with me.
2015 3.0 TFSI 034 Stage 2 Plus E40 3.16 pulley ratio.
All right, we get something here.
Any issues to be concerned with? Fuel starvation on hard launches with an 1/8-inch tank.
Eighth of a tank.
Oh, sorry, with an
1/8-inch tank.
Eighth of a tank.
Eighth of a tank.
Sorry, I've been doing too much woodworking.
Yes, typically you're gonna start struggling. Especially if you're on E40. I don't think did they actually say
E40? Yeah,
E40. Yeah.
E40 Plus, Stage 2 Plus.
Yeah. So your fuel demand is very high on that file already. We're asking for everything from both the low pressure and high pressure pump. So if you get any starvation because you're low on the tank, you're going to notice it.
Yep.
That's why we've got a surge tank we're working on and some other stuff to
The surge tank will solve that, and keep your eye out for that. When is the B8 S4 pistons coming out, and will it drop compression ratio? Will there be cams as well? We are working on pistons. We don't have a date. I'd like to think we could have something out, this year. We can offer any compression.
Yeah, they'll be made to order.
I'm not sure anyone's really interested in lowering compression, especially with the ability to run high octane E85 type blends. Most people are even looking for a little bit more, but we can make whatever we want, and we're currently lining up a supplier and getting all the initial engineering done for that. We are looking into all engine performance options, so stay tuned for that. Yep. Is there any hope seeing a pendulum mount for the AJTT TTS? Don't we have that?
No, that's
Sean?
the one. That's the one out
Isn't
there.
it?
That's got its own unique pendulum.
But we've
mount.
we have more options on the market than anybody.
We do, but I think that one is still out there.
Mark, we should just consider it. It's an easy part.
Yep.
We just changed that one bomb component. Everything's probably the same.
Yep.
So we will work on that for you. I didn't realize. I thought we had hit every application.
I think
we even have like the Mark 7.5, which is like a little bit longer.
Yep. But the DQ381 got longer.
Yeah.
But yeah,
DQ381.
We
Yeah.
can look at that.
Go NMF. Have you looked into that? I don't know what that is. Google that real quick. Will it be worth it
I don't know if I can. I'm sure I'll get marketing buzz here.
Will it be worth it to port match when you guys sell your bigger throttle body when using a Joker's port, since it's opened up more? I can't imagine that it will make a big difference. I'd say it's not worth it, but if it's not that much work, not that big of a deal, sure, why not? Feels good to have everything port matched and smooth in there. But no, I don't think our parts are precision manufactured, and I don't think there would be any. Honestly, I don't know if it would be more than like even within the margin of error any potential difference. So port matching can make a big difference. Certainly the worse the things line up, the bigger the gain. But we'd be talking about maybe like a 0.5 millimeter lip or something, and it's just not going to make much of a difference. So
I'm trying to find anything on this Go NMF.
wait, this is some kind of ion friction reducer? Okay, it's bullshit.
Friction reducer. Oh, you added something?
Oh, okay. Okay, so someone is asking, Go NMF or NMF Ionic friction reducer, is it legit or BS? So according to the manufacturer, NMF eliminates the root cause of much friction. The natural state in machines is a bonding positive-negative electrical relationship which draws parts together in harmful wear and causes residue to adhere to parts. NMF decreases wear, improves efficiency, and cleans engines and injectors by converting that bonding relationship into a negative to negative one, which is repelling. All materials carry an electrical charge. These charges come in the form of electrons and protons. Is this April Fool's? Protons are at the center of each atom, and while electrons orbit the atom, these charged subatomic particles create electrical forces between each other. These forces can be repelling or attractive. Like charges repel, opposite charges attract. Protons have a positive charge while electrons... Okay, anyways, it sounds like bullshit to me.
Yeah, they claim they have some ASTM D4172 standards that they've tested, and
But that's so. So what does that mean? It's like saying you're ISO 9001 certified. Does that mean you have like a really good product?
Well, apparently, it reduced engine wear by 22% or something.
I'd like to see that study, and I'd like to see the results, right? Because in one case it reduced by 22%, but they just happened not to say the thing that caused it to wear worse by 50%. But it sounds basically whenever I hear or read a word salad like that, I just call BS. So I don't know. Wear isn't really a big problem inside modern engines and transmissions. Your B8S4 3.2 will happily go 200,000-300,000 miles, before it wears itself out
You can't find any
from
information on
friction.
temperature, working temperature ranges, on pressure, and
This is the kind of thing you'd see at like, a trade show where the guy's like got one of those headsets on and
it's not cheap either.
it's basically sounds like, I think Slick 50 called and they want their marking BS back from the 1990s.
$5 for a 16-ounce bottle.
Yeah. I wouldn't waste your time. Do regular oil changes. Use good quality oil. Change your filter often if you want. Just maintain your shit, and you don't need stuff like that. So.
Point reward system if you order.
If you order a T-shirt, they have points. You can get points.
And a bottle, get a couple.
I don't know. It's a word salad. So if they wanted to prove it, they would show the study.
Yeah, I don't see
they would show
white papers.
They would show data on engine wear. It's if it's scientifically proven, then show the science. But it's just kind of BS-y. So I hate crap like that. Sorry. All right. Okay, I got that one. Do you have any updates on the B9 S4? Yes, our tuning program is going very well. We are beginning to start road testing and do high load testing on the tuning. A big part of the tune is being able to flash, so we're updating our server to be able to flash these newer MG1 ECUs. We're hoping to release something in the next month or so. Yep. So stay tuned. That's our goal. We don't want to rush it or release something before it's ready. We won't do that. But it's coming very well. Our in-house test car is making great horsepower and torque numbers.
Yep.
Drivability is good. We're validating
some super small
everything. Now. So yeah, it's going well. Stay tuned. If you're waiting for a B9 S4 MG1 tune, good things are coming your way, okay? And we appreciate those of you that have been waiting. Are you planning to have any guests on your show, such as famous YouTubers and Instagram stars, when things reopen? I'd love to. I've also talked to Nate about doing a second show every week where I'm interviewing or bringing someone else in the industry. I've been in the industry forever. I know everyone. Frankly, I have the good fortune of knowing a lot of amazing people and having good relationships with them. So it would be fun to have those kind of people on and expose you guys to their thoughts and opinions. And, they could also chime in on a lot of these types of questions as well. So, we'll see. The issue is we currently broadcast this to all major social media. We still need to do Snapchat and Grinder, but having a second screen come into it just adds an incredible amount of complexity. So we've avoided doing it so far, but that's definitely something we want to do. I have 145K on my B8.5 S4. Would lowering springs be okay to install with stock shocks considering their lifespan, or would coilovers make more sense for lowering the car and improving ride quality? Do you have any okay, that's a separate question. 145,000 isn't necessarily a bad thing for your shocks and struts.
And mileage is a really tough metric to know how used up a shock is.
If you've just been driving back and forth on I-80, for the last 5 years, then no, it shouldn't have worn. But if you've been driving on bumpy roads and gravel roads and off-roading, you've hit lots of big potholes, and then it's possible that your factory shocks could be worn. I would still encourage you to run our springs with factory magnetic ride shocks if you have the option. But if your car feels fine and it's not too bouncy or wallowy right now, then I don't think you'd have a concern there. We've discussed the merits of coilovers and some of the pitfalls a number of times, so Sean could maybe link you back to some of those videos. But yeah, again, if your car has seen relatively light highway use, as they say, then 145K is not a problem. Any plans for a cast throttle body inlet pipe for the DAZA? Yes, we've
no.
Oh, throttle body inlet pipe. Okay. We are doing a turbo inlet pipe.
Yes.
We are not planning on doing a throttle body pipe at this time. Malacca Motorsports has a really nice one that's, I've spoken to them about it, and I've seen the test numbers and consulted them on testing it, and it looks really nice. So for the time being, we would just recommend using theirs. I think it's probably something we might do eventually, but there's not a lot of DAZA cars on the road, and we're pretty late to the party there, so probably not. But again, I like the Malacca Motorsports one. I think they did a good job with that. I believe they still offer it for sale. I think we're the third question we've done. Do you have any tunes for the RS6, RS7, C7 4.0T? We don't currently sell anything, but we will soon. And that is one of the tunes that we're currently working on. And I think by this summer, our goal is to have a tune on the market and available for stage 1 and stage 2. So if you can wait a little longer, we'd recommend doing so. We are working on it.
Yep.
So it's not
with accompanying transmission software as well.
Yeah. So it's not like a pie in the sky off in the future thing. I want to lower my Audi C7 RS6 with factory air ride. Can you help? Yeah. So timely question. So we have these lowering links, and I think are we releasing these this week? Today. Okay. So they will get released today. I don't know if you can see, but you get here. So you get 4 of these links. They are really nicely machined and anodized dual aluminum shafts with these snap provisions on it. So the factory air ride suspension has these links that measure the height of the suspension. So this link is connected to a sensor, and based on the position of the suspension, the sensor will tell the controller what the height of the car is. So these links allow users to trick the sensor and the controller into lowering the car. So these are a different length than factory. They're also made from a much nicer, stronger material. These will last the lifetime of the car, and they're adjustable. So you can fine tune your ride height like by millimeters simply by adjusting the length of these struts that change the position of the sensor. The factory controller doesn't know how high the car is. So typically by installing these, it drops the car about 2 inches or 50 millimeters. Yeah, which is 2 inches. But again, you can tweak and change that. I'm not a huge fan of air ride, but I gotta admit this is really nice. I mean, you don't have to change you don't have to change anything. And also it looks really cool when the controller dumps the car when it's parked. It looks pretty badass. So, and then you can raise it too. You can raise it up if you need more clearance or whatever. So that's something. And then I also want to talk about our MQB cast downpipe. So this is not a new product. This is a product we've had on the market for about 4 or 5 years now. This is our full. It's a cast stainless steel. So the top portion is fully cast. This part and this part. The reason we cast those parts is, one, this is cast stainless steel. It holds up really well to heat. All the hot exhaust from the turbo affects this top portion. And then we have a very high quality 034 Motorsport Euro 3 catalytic converter installed in here. So Euro 3 is an emissions specification that actually went through like 2006 vehicles. So even though this is a high flow racing downpipe, this will put out exhaust as clean as a 2006 Audi factory car.
Well, I would qualify that it's likely going to be even cleaner because the engine itself at a base level is running cleaner than a 2006 Audi already. And then the post treatment.
Yeah. So with this, you will have a very high flowing, very clean environmentally. Now it's not legal. Not any change to the factory emission system is against the EPA Clean Air Act and is illegal, and it's also against California Air Resources Board.
Yeah, we're talking US based stuff here.
Yeah,
in
US
other parts of the world, these are.
In Europe, I don't believe there's any restrictions, which is kind of awesome. But in the US, this is only allowed for racing, sanctioned racing use. So if you're racing in NASA or SCCA or not any kind of sanctioned race at a racetrack, then this is legal. But what we've done in the past, we used to sell the whole downpipe, and we included the all-wheel drive and the front-wheel drive mid-pipes. So this is the all-wheel drive mid-pipe, and the front-wheel drive one is, or I think this is the front-wheel drive, and the all-wheel drive one is like 3 times longer than this. We would include both in the box. That way, if anyone, whether you had an S3 or a GTI, it didn't matter. You had all the parts to do it. We've gotten some feedback that we need to be even more price competitive with this product, so we've now split it out. You can no longer buy it as a bundle, and we now sell a front wheel drive and an all wheel drive version. And we were able to reduce the price by $50, which doesn't seem like a ton, but these extra pipes didn't cost that.
Cheaper.
It is.
Yes.
Oh, okay. What are the prices again?
$795 and
So front wheel drive $795, and all wheel drive's probably a little bit. I don't know.
$795 and $850.
Okay, so all wheel drive is $850 because that pipe is like 3-4 feet long. The front wheel drive pipe is much shorter and cheaper. So $795 and $850. Again, extremely high quality. I saw someone in the thread ask if we've had failures or.
Oh yeah, I saw that question.
No, I'm not aware of any failure with this, any warranties. At one point, we had an issue with
some of the
swedges were a little too big. This was like 3-4 years ago. I'm just being really
it was like
honest.
production run 1 or 2.
But yeah, no, this is nice and tight, how it's supposed to be now. And then we also include brand new clamps. But yeah, we had a little bit of leaking issue because the swedge was just like 0.5 millimeter too big. That's the only issue we've ever had. Yeah. You will get some leaking of this joint, like you'll see water and like carbony black water leak out of here. That's normal even with factory exhaust.
Yeah, same as the factory joints.
But this is basically the factory joint that we've duplicated here. So very high quality product, readily available. I believe we're currently out of stock on this, but we have a new shipment.
It's readily available.
Well, it will be once this next huge shipment shows up. We'll have plenty of stock. But I think that's going to be very soon. So if you want to get your order in, we will be shipping those hopefully in the next few weeks.
Right.
So
we're a couple minutes over, so I think we're going to.
Oh, we are. Okay, I didn't even know. All right, cool. Okay, well, I think that's it for this week. That went by fast.
Yeah.
Thank you again as always, and we'll see you next week. Cheers. Holy shit, where'd that last 20 minutes go?
I know. It's quick, huh?